Do you use your time wisely? My name is Ryan, and today I've been given the chance to speak in front of you guys as an audience. After careful thought, I've chosen to use my time wisely and talk to you guys about, well, using your time wisely, something we tend to fail to do as a society. I'd rather use this opportunity to share a message and give some perspective on life. I have had a lot of people throughout my life teach me stories and lessons that I still carry with me today, and I hope to have that same impact on some of you today, even if that's just one single person. So let's begin. What about using our time more wisely? How or why should we do this? I think it starts by looking at our psyche and our minds and how it works and what it tells us, as this is the basis of all our decisions. Let's start with the example of waking up, because we all do it. Has anyone had to wake up early in the morning, maybe 5:30 a.m., airport, work, school, something? And you did it because you had to. You had to be somewhere at a certain time. You wouldn't have gotten up at that time just because. But has anyone tried to get up at that time just because? Maybe to go for a run or get an early start to the day. This task is much harder than when you had to get up. But why? It's the same time, right?
Yeah.
It's because when we as people don't have to do something, our mind tends to ask us, why should I? And ultimately tells us that we can't. How many people have ever said, I can't get up that early, or I can't physically do that? I'm guilty of it. It's okay. We've all been there. But could you really not get up that early? Or did you just not want to? This is a prime example of our minds preventing us from using our time to the best of our ability. Stop saying I can't, and let's start replacing those can'ts with don't want to's, because that's the truth. I can't wake up that early. No, you don't want to wake up that early. I can't run that far. No, you don't want to run that far. Having to do something is much different than choosing to do something. You and I must get better and stronger in making those decisions. Moving on and staying away, or staying on the same road, a tool I use to get people to try to understand this concept is by giving you a scenario. And this scenario kind of points out that we're lazy and exceptional excuse makers as to why we aren't doing what we should. Let's take a person with cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy affects muscles, body movements, speech. A person with cerebral palsy has difficulty standing up, walking, learning, speaking. They tend to be partially paralyzed. Let's say we were to give someone like this a week free of the disease. Think they'd sleep in till 11 and lay in a bed for an additional hour? Think they'd say things like, I don't want to get out of bed. What would they do with their time? These are questions I like to ask and discuss with people just to get their minds going. I'd like to think they use their time pretty wisely. Don't get me wrong, sleep is very important, but we as a society, we as people use it way too much as an excuse to not get done what we can and should. What if you were to sleep half an hour less, 30 minutes? Use your time to better yourself in some way. Maybe go for a walk, read 20 pages of a book, or eat a good breakfast, something I know myself and a lot of other college students do not do enough. You don't need to wake up at 4 a.m. to do these things. These are very simple tasks that we all pass on for 45, 30 minutes of sleep. Picture how much better and smarter you could be today if you would just use your time a little more wisely. Things like eating fruit, a vegetable, drinking 5 cups of water, or reading a chapter of a book a day, these are all very simple tasks that we can do in a day to better ourselves and what we do with our time. It's very easy to do these things, but then again, it's a lot easier not to. We must strive to choose easy less, to do what others won't, so in the future we can do what others can't. We hold the responsibility of using our 86,400 seconds in a day for how we should rather than what sometimes we want, because those are two different things. Moving on again to a perspective I have and another something to get your brain thinking. I like to ask myself, what would I do if I had 6 months to live? What would I do with my time? Ask yourself, what would you do if you had 6 months to live? And why aren't you doing it? I want to live my life in a way where someone could walk through the door right now and say to me, hey Ryan, you have 6 months to live. And I could respond back and say, okay, thanks, now can you leave so I can get back to what I'm doing? That's where I want to be. I don't want to have to change anything. That's where I want to keep finding myself over and over again. That's how I want to be living my life. So yeah, that's where I want to be, and I hope you strive to as well. Consider the ideas explored today and then the hours and days that follow. No more choosing easy. Choose to do the things we should, not want. Next time, ask yourself if you actually can't do it or if you actually don't want to. It's been a pleasure speaking to you today, and I hope some of you are feeling motivated and will begin to take steps towards living a mission-driven life full of gratitude and perspective. Don't forget to ask yourself, 6 months, what would you do, and why haven't you done it yet? Thank you.